Good evening, everyone. This is the working session of the council for, what's today's date? July 11th, 2024, bringing the meeting to order. Do I have a motion for adoption of the agenda?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, the agenda is adopted. And we are moving on to council discussion topics. A reminder that there is no public comment at a council work session. So first item up is the biennial budget calendar. Lindsay, you're up. Director Vaughn, I meant to say.
It could be Lindsay. So we are going to work through it in an Excel format together. Walking through, there have been some changes. And so we're just gonna walk through them for the month of July, August, September. And October, and then finalizing it off in November. So I'm just gonna walk through it month by month, and it's kind of broken up that way. So first, we have a lot of internal that we're working on currently. The departments are submitting all of their budget information to the finance department currently. And so that walks down to us also having this conversation about the outline of the dates that each meeting will take place. The next budget and finance, which is July 18th, we'll go through a budget 101 and finalize the calendar that we are discussing here tonight. And then walking down to July 23rd, the week of the 23rd or the 22nd is Monday. And the 23rd and 25th, internally, this does not involve council. At that time, we will be meeting with department heads to have conversations about their asks. And that occurs internally between the mayor, the city administrator, finance director, and the department head or whoever is involved in the department that put that budget together to help have that conversation behind the scenes. So that being said, are there any questions about July before I walk into August?
Council members, could I note that we've had some discussion, and we'll discuss it at the council meeting too, about possibly canceling our council meetings on July 22nd and July 25th. So just a little advance warning, we'll discuss it a little bit later, but since you mentioned July in the calendar, I thought I'd throw it in there.
That's probably appropriate timing because the July 25th, that date is crossed out, so thank you.
Yes.
And then, so walking into what August is framing up to look like. August 5th, that's a Monday. So the community partners, instead of previously, we've done community partners all on one night. And that tends to be a lot to take in, having all of those discussions. And that night you end up as council members more so, trying to just get everybody through instead of having some thoughtful discussions. The proposal this year during this cycle is to break them up into two separate meetings. So there will be a group, half of the group will be on Monday, August 5th, and the other half will be on Monday, August 12th. And so that there can be more of a presentation and an interactive discussion with council and community partners. And then,
Could I suggest you mention who the community partners are?
that is a great, so the community partners, okay, I might have to lean on. So it's the senior center, the Lake Forest Park Senior Center, there is the Shore Lake Arts. We,
Third place.
Shore Lake
Friends of
Arts,
third place.
Friends of Third Place Commons, we have. Third Place
There's
Commons. I
Yeah.
don't believe
Yeah.
Medusa is not a.
CHS.
See,
Oh, right.
so, that's behavioral health, what does CHS stand for? They're the behavioral health. I am drawing a blank on that, I'll circle back.
Community health services.
Community Health Services, and they are the behavioral health support. And I am definitely missing some.
So.
The Friends of
Are
Third
we
Place
still
Commons,
doing
Shore Lake
that
Arts,
after school?
after school, that's,
Program?
Hang time.
Hang time?
yes. Hang Time, which is that's connected with the YMCA.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
Dale Turner, YMCA. And I am reserving the right that I may have missed one.
So can I ask a question? Is Regional Homelessness Authority included in community partners, or is that a separate?
That's a separate.
Okay,
Separate fundings.
That's,
Okay.
yeah, that has an individual funding stream of money that is allocated directly for that, so that does not.
so will they come to us as part of the budget discussion and tell us what they've been up to? Because when I hear the chatter from other cities, one of the things they're concerned about is they're not getting proportionate services. And I know our funds were earmarked for cold weather shelter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, so at least knowing what our money did would be good at some point. Even if it's an email update rather than an in-person. Do
Yeah,
other
we can get
council
that.
members agree? Yeah. Okay. Sorry,
No, absolutely, that was
didn't
absolutely
mean to
appropriate.
interrupt your flow.
No, this is a discussion. We can stop at any time and
I found
continue.
my list, if you'd like it, Oakland, North Helpline, Center for Human Services, Shoreline Lake Forest Park Senior Center, Dale Turner, YMCA.
Thank you.
And then walking down, so the first so we're actually within July, we'll do the budget 101, and that's just kind of an overview of the whole process. But where we're gonna start talking about the projections, the year-end projections, the updated year-end projections, because that's actually already been presented once previously in the year. But we're gonna present the updated year-end projections on August 8th at that work session. And then are requesting that night, because that will be the next actual council meeting. We're hoping to have back in July on the 18th, we're hoping to have that budget 101 in addition to finalizing the budget calendar, but we're hoping to officially adopt it through a motion at the next council meeting, which will be the 8th. And once we have the approval of the outline of the dates, then we probably will send a notice out, like news flash and communication to the community to give them an outline so they can participate in addition. So then walking down to August 15th, that budget and finance that meeting will be canceled, and we're just calling it out. And that's due to both City Administrator Hill and myself. We will be attending the WCMA conference that week. And then the August 19th, which that is actually a committee of the whole meeting on that Monday. In addition to other items that are recommended to be discussed by council, the capital improvement projects will be discussed that evening. That will be going into the budget. And then historically, the second meeting in August, city council tends to be canceled. So the next meeting will be September, walking into September on the 12th. And that is where the full mayor's proposed, the preliminary budget will be presented at that time to council at a council meeting. then walking down to the next week, September 19th, on that Thursday, we will go over all the revenue projections. And that will just be one night at the Budget and Finance, and we'll just walk through that together.
We go on this for the council members on the 12th, and the budget is presented. We will go through it. It will basically just be handed out to you with a transmittal letter. And so you have time to take it home, review it, start reading it.
So we'll just say the 12th is a very large date internally to meet, and then we give it to you for a week prior to starting to actually discuss it piece by piece. And then we walk into department presentations, and those are going to be broken up into two different days, because to do it all in one day, again, back to the community partner conversation, can be overwhelming. So we're breaking it out into two different nights, so Monday and Thursday, the 23rd and then the 26th. And we will be going through, and we will probably, the main thing was the two big departments being police and public works. It'll be one of those, plus the other departments will fill it. And then walking down to September 30th, which is a Monday. Historically, we've always, after we've gone through the revenues and had all of the departments present their information, there's always been a public comment prior to council deliberation recommendations that has just been put out there, that is up for discussion, could be changed. Definitely a conversation to have. And that walks into the start of council's deliberations, recommendations, desires, after we've walked through all of the other outlines of what put the budget together. Are there any questions with that before I walk down to October?
Not so much a question, just two comments. First, I appreciate you splitting up. I remember 2 years ago, the community partners meeting, it was a lot for one night. So I appreciate you splitting it up. And also for the newer council members, a few of these were labeled budget and finance. I think semi-formally, budget and finance expands to be all 7 of us rather than just the 3 official members. So it becomes sort of like a committee of the whole at that point.
I'm going to lean on my budget chair, if that's, historically, that is how we have.
I didn't mean to overstep since you're the chair.
Historically, we have set it up that way. And so that'll be a discussion to have if we have to phrase these meetings differently. I didn't think about that.
I mean, technically, they'd be all budget and finance meetings, because according to governance manual, the entire city council becomes budget and finance.
Oh, that's right, we outlined it there.
That's
One other comment, in early October, that's when the council members usually identify, we start formulating a list of questions or question areas or issues. So, so we can focus in the subsequent meetings.
And so there's quite a few meetings built in. If everything ends up being streamlined, we try to make sure that there's plenty of time for meetings, for discussions, that nothing feels to be cut short, that council has adequate time to discuss anything and everything they desire to discuss about the budget. This is a little bit unusual if you look at some other cities. So I just want to say that we purposefully build in a lot of time for council to discuss and have conversations. That being stated, if it ends up not being necessary, then occasionally we do cancel a meeting. And that can be normal, but if we build it in a little on the heavy side in order to make sure it's there and on everybody's calendar, and then if it is unnecessary, then we'll just use the meeting for other items. If it falls on an actual continued work session or budget and finance. Then October 24th, that's gonna be the first public hearing on property tax levies, that conversation, the 1%. Rate increases and any other budget related item that is going to be in addition as part of the budget discussion. But at that point, you will be very well educated on every single thing that went into the budget and the rate increases. You will be very well educated on all that at that. And then the proposal is on November 7th to have the final public hearing on that night and the adoption of the budget on that night. And that concludes the overview of the draft calendar. Are there any additional questions?
Just had one comment, just about November 7th, previously on the previous iteration of this, we were going to be holding a public hearing and adoption on the 14th, but I am trying to free up time to go to the National League of Cities seminars on the grant writing during that same time frame. So I apologize about the compressed schedule, but I would also note that traditionally, so this will be my 13th, I believe, budget is goodbye, et cetera. I believe we've traditionally had about 16 meetings. That's exactly, basically including what we have here. So as Director Vaughn indicated, if we move forward expeditiously, we have in the past canceled at least 1 or 2 meetings. For lack of need.
By the same token, if we need more time, we will figure it out.
We'll build them in.
Day after Thanksgiving.
It's not,
This
We've done that
adoption says
before.
November 7th.
it's not a federal holiday, I will just know.
I know, it definitely, the year that everybody got called back still comes up, and that was prior to me being here.
Right.
How-
Wasn't it? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
that was 2013.
Are there any questions, concerns?
I'm sort of related to November 7th. I'm fine with this. If it turns out that we have robust public comment on November 7th, then I would like us, since that is still fairly early, we still have a month and a half. If we do get robust public comment on the 7th, I'd like us to consider giving ourselves some time to digest the public comment and not voting on it that day.
That's part of what I meant by if we need to
You bet.
extend the schedule, we will.
And on point, if that yeah, we want to make sure there's plenty of time. And if there is the need, then I can, if I'm out of town, I can certainly zoom in and participate as necessary.
Or, yeah, the other proposal is we could, the Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving is the final week, so the 21st would be a budget and finance meeting, and so we could either turn that into, or we could do it if the Monday, we've done it on a Monday so occasionally. So there's some options to revise the schedule if robust public comment does come forward on the 7th with that public hearing.
Any other questions or comments? Bill or Tom, anything you want to add?
No, very much like good discussions.
Just a warning that at the same time we'll be paralleling on the comprehensive plan. So
Good
these
times.
could be some busy council, the actual council meetings could be busy. So rest up. I think if we do cancel July 22nd, 25th and August 22nd, we'll give you some time to catch your breath before the marathon.
I'll just say one other, following up on the request to have the Regional Housing Authority. If there's any items or partners, within our budget that you desire to have a conversation with, the sooner we can have that notification in order to coordinate that conversation so that you have all the information that you desire in order to make a knowledgeable decision. Please feel free to let myself or City Administrator Hill know that, and we will make that coordination occur so that we can have that partner come forward, or vendor, or whoever it might be. I think that's it. That concludes.
Okay. So our second discussion topic is the 2024 Ballot Initiative 2117 concerning carbon tax trading. Basically would repeal many elements of the current climate legislation that's been passed. I have understood that it would not affect any of the climate funding that we have gotten to date. So that's good, but there's been a discussion and a proposal that the council consider taking a position against the initiative. So who is going to be speaking to that? Tracy, are you online?
It's not here.
Yeah, he missed his flight, I think we saw earlier. Let's see, it was the email.
Okay, so
So it's,
there was.
Is he in the waiting room?
yeah.
Okay, good. I was gonna add lib. Yeah.
My apologies, everyone.
No worries, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy, you made it. Sorry we kept you in the waiting room.
No issues there. Thank you very much for having me.
The floor is yours to talk about the council taking a position on initiative 2117.
Absolutely. Thanks. And one of the points that I want to make is that even though current projects will not necessarily be affected, it's going to affect a lot of things that we're applying for. For instance, the EV chargers throughout the city. A lot of these projects are funded through money raised by the CCA, and they'd come to a halt. And it has like these weird knock-on effects that a lot of the salmon recovery fund, the SURF you may have heard about, projects are also funded through the CCA. In fact, they have a very robust budget now for things like, for instance, stream restoration or habitat restoration for the salmon, and even testing on the streams. So there's far-reaching implications for repealing that funding source. And so a lot of the things that we've been thinking about preserving our environment isn't just directly related to EVs and things like that, right? There's a lot of different places where the funding basically of projects that we've been thinking about have been bolstered by the CCA.
So Councilmember Corritani, you may not know this, but a possible schedule is to, well, first of all, to solicit pro and con viewpoints, and then have a public hearing, which is required before the council can take a position on August 8th. And then potentially adopt the position of the council by vote on September 12th, which is well in advance of even the mailing out of the ballots. Does that schedule sound okay to you?
Yes, and appreciate you putting it on the docket for those dates. One thing I would note is that, for instance, I think, I don't know if I said the leadership team, but Kenmore's already adopted their position on I-2117. Not surprisingly, it is an anti-position. One of their justifications for doing it so early was to get on campaign literature as going on the record being against 2117. So that's one piece of, I don't know if it's going to influence anybody's decision about if we should speed up our own timeline. We don't have to do, of course, everything that Kenmore does. But nevertheless, if we wanted to get out there that we are on the record that way, earlier is better.
Okay, we can discuss that and see, I don't know if you heard that you probably didn't. That there's at least going to be a discussion in the council meeting about possibly canceling the July 22nd, July 25th, and August 22nd meetings. Various meetings of various sorts. So, we can certainly see if there's any opportunity to speed up the timeline. Certainly, that will be enough time to inform our citizens of Lake Forest Park.
Sure.
So, on the other hand, if we want to join the larger community of cities and the, statewide discussion of this, then sooner would be better, of course.
And thank you for that comment. And, I appreciate that one of the reasons why the cancellation of those meetings was being considered is just to not overtax our staff. And I'm completely appreciative of not dragging them in here for one item. So yes, so I think, with those cancellations in mind, this timeline would work for being able to inform our own city.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions or comments, council members?
Who's
Yes.
behind who's behind the ballot? Anybody know?
There's a coalition of groups that are and their argument is that this is essentially a tax that does all it does is it raises gasoline prices around the state, and in a time when inflation is running at whatever it is running at, families can ill afford it. And so they're using an economic argument that the tax is literally slowing down our economy in the state. The not so hidden subtext there is that there's a fairly large number of anti-climate action committees around the state, and that they've coalesced in that this is the most
Tracy, could
Tracy,
you pause for a second?
Yeah, Tracy, we have to be very cautious about expressing anything other than facts here. We need to stay within some parameters, and I don't think it's straight, but I just want to make sure, since Kim is not with us, I think she would put some guardrails on here. So.
Okay, my apologies then.
Interrupting you.
Yeah, but I think yeah, I think I'll leave it what I said then.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
If you want to know, the main group behind it, it's called Let's Go Washington.
Very detailed. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
I'll express support. I think, yeah, as a city, I'd like to see us take a position on this, and if we're canceling our late July meeting, then having it at our early August meeting, I think is a good schedule.
Thank you. Yes. Councilmember.
I'm fine with us going through the process and having the city be able to take a position on it. Has it come to the city's interest to take a position on the fire district levy? Has that come up in any discussions yet?
Are they
No,
presenting?
they're presenting tonight.
They're presenting
on their-
tonight,
On
yeah.
their levy.
Okay,
Chief Allen will be here tonight.
okay. We have a discussion later. if we want.
That is on their, that is a big August.
Yeah.
Ballot.
Yeah, that one was coming sooner,
Yes.
so that's why I wanted to bring it up.
So there is a way for you to officially take a position.
Yeah, there's not enough
It's too-
time.
We don't have much, especially we can't have meetings.
Well, then we would have to pro and con, and we'd have to hold a public hearing in 2 weeks. If we had a meeting for 25th, would not. The optics would be.
Yeah.
That's not enough time for them to respond.
Mhm.
To show it.
Well, that's just fine.
Any other questions or comments? So are we adjourned? Okay, the city council work session for Thursday, July 11th is adjourned.